All right, so we have 3 of these 6,000 to 8,000 pound Chinese excavators here, and I want to do a comparison between all 3 since they're sitting right next to each other. This will be really easy to do. So we have the Industry, the CFG Industry STE35SR, and you have the NT45, and this one is a KU45. So I own the yellow one, and these other ones here I've tested out at these auctions, and I'll tell you why I bought the yellow one over the other 2. So this one is heavier. This one, we'll start with the heaviest one here. This is a 15 kilogram machine. So times that by 2.2, that'll convert you over to pounds. And the reason I'm not a huge fan of this is because I have not figured out how to make the boom swing here at this joint. If you read the manual, it's in this tools box, and yes, it's spelled tools box. The manual tells you that there is a pedal right here on the left hand side that actuates the boom. There is not. This pedal right here just makes your track speed go faster. So this is the 2-speed track. You press this down and it gets you from point A to point B faster. That far pedal right there, all that does is bog down the machine. And it really feels like it is coming to these capped off valves right here for your third function hydraulic. So if you're trying to run a breaker, you'd plug into that, and I believe that's what that foot pedal runs. I've hit every switch, every lever that I can find on this thing, and there's nothing in the instruction manual that shows it on how to swing this boom right here at this joint. There's no braces that I can see that are physically keeping it from being moved. It is just, it won't move. Another criticism. Yes, that is rust on the cylinder right there. It has not moved in or out for a while. So, yeah, this is also little things fit and finish wise. You have a hole right here that goes into your cab. This one does have air conditioning. Well, it has the parts for air conditioning. Over the summers, I've hopped in numerous ones of these, fired them up, and ran that air conditioner, and it does not blow cold air. I don't know if they don't come from the factory charged or what the reasoning is for that, but I'm not having any luck getting the AC to work in these. On the back side here, you can see it's a 0 tail swing. It's a Yanmar motor. It's the same bloodline. It's a different model number, but same bloodline as what is in that yellow one right there. And you can see some of the numbers. You can make them out. I'll try to zoom in here. That's your pump, and I can't find a name on the pump. So we know it has at least a good motor in here, Yanmar. I've had good luck with them. And then you have same thing, radiator over here, and then your battery sits down in there. Frame, it looks all robotically welded. I would assume when you're building this style machine that you're probably using robots to weld a good portion of them. Same thing with the blade. And it looks fairly well designed. Criticisms. They run the hydraulic lines up and over the boom, and my concern with that is if you're running machines like this, you'll probably eventually get into some trees, some brush, some shrubs, and exposed hydraulic lines, in my experience, get smashed into, and they can cause some headache. So the reason I bring that up is if you compare it to this, they run all their hydraulic lines inside, and it's just a little bit cleaner fit and finish on this boom section here. This teal colored one, they run on top. Now I'm sure that running them on top of the boom, I mean, your big excavators do it, so maybe I'm making something out of nothing, but it just seems that if I don't have stuff hanging off the side, it's less stuff for me to damage if I'm working on trees. Another thing I'm not a fan of is no hydraulic bucket. A machine this size, especially if you're going to spend the money to have air conditioning installed in it, you think that they could throw an extra hydraulic cylinder in there just to have this a hydraulic thumb. I'm a huge believer in hydraulic thumbs. I think they should be on any machine that you're buying because, it just makes it more useful. You can do a lot more with it and moves things. Anytime you're buying a Mini, I think it needs to come with a hydraulic thumb. That's just my personal experience with them. So having this pinnable setup here, I've seen these a couple other places, but I don't like the design of it, because if I'm curling this bucket if I have this thumb down, I curl the bucket onto a piece of material and it's pushing up against the thumb, I'm gonna try to peel this part off of the boom here. And so if these welds aren't done right, you can crack the welds. Where if you have a support beam or a hydraulic cylinder up at the top there, you're making a giant triangle and spreading out that load. So in my head, it just, you know, the more structurally sound you can make something, the longer it's going to last, because an operator's going to find a way to break it. If you're the owner operator, yeah, you might be more gentle on your machine, but you'd be surprised how much pressure these machines can put out, especially with the hydraulics on these. The inside of the cab, it's not as comfortable to get into as the yellow one. I catch my coat, my pants and stuff on here. These are leaned pretty far back for my liking. I wish that I'm forward right now. This is as far forward as they go. So in my head, it makes sense to adjust them more forward so it's out of your way. When I'm running them, I try to use my feet to move the tracks. Fit and finish on this thing. Down here, there's your battery switch, there's your relays, and then you have your fuse blocks right there. This is just, it's not that nice. Maybe I'm being critical. Maybe I'm being not fair to this thing. I mean, it's pinned in there, and yeah, this is just not a nice fit and finish machine comparatively to that yellow one right there. These are all, from my understanding, and it's very hard to decipher things, especially those Chinese excavators. These are all owned by CFG. This one is an AGT, but I believe that is just a different, yeah, this is a different model than these ones, but these are both CFGs right here. And this red one, I believe, is made in-house by them. And you know, it'll do the job, it'll dig, and at the end of the day, that's what it's designed to do. But that yellow one has a lot more fit and finish to it. Cab of this, there's your air conditioning box. Key, I believe this runs power to your air conditioner box, and then that is your dummy lights, your fuel, and your temperature. And then your throttle is this electronic throttle right here that you just spin. Blade control, and then boom control. Pretty basic in here. You do have a radio all the way up there, and yes, it's all in Chinese. So you're gonna have to figure out what is what does what. You do have this mystery button here. You press that. I don't know if that turns on your fan. Let's find out. Well, it's not moving anything for the HVAC system in here, so that's the thing I don't care for with this machine, is that there's a lot of mystery buttons. So that's just a pet peeve of mine. And you can say that the safety meshes, they're translated poorly from Chinese to English. So if you're looking at a machine, yes, this has more weight, and yes, this is probably more capable than the yellow one, but when it comes down to it, I can't pull the trigger on one of these. All the reviews I've read online, people like them. They say they dig just fine, and they probably do. Maybe I'm probably being too harsh on it. So since I spent enough time bashing that one, we'll go over here and look at this one. So this, same thing, 3-cylinder Yanmar motor. You can't see the pump from these access panels, at least the way they are right now. But this is a 6,000 pound machine, and they advertise as a 2.7 ton machine, and I don't know why that is, because if you convert over the kilograms here, the operating mass 2,800 kilos, that comes out to about 6,000 pounds. So 3 tons. This one, hydraulic thumb and a quick coupler bucket. That red one over there does not have a quick coupler bucket. That's another ding on it. The big complaint I have on this is that the way that this thumb sits is it does not fold up further up against the boom. So if you have it full extension, you can see where somebody's already jammed the thumb into the dirt there. So that's problematic. This machine is not made by CFG Industry. This is a Shantui. Shantui was started in the 80s. They're a Chinese company. Their claim to fame is bulldozers. That was a big thing that they build, but they build big hydraulic excavators, small ones. They're probably comparable to SANY or XCMG. You have a website that you can surf, but they're not going to be in the US anytime soon. I've reached out to them, I've reached out to their distributors, and the only way that they are sending their machines over is if they are rebranded. And they come over rebranded like this. This CFG Industry is how they're getting them over here. I don't know why that is. In my head, it makes more sense that you're going to send over a machine that has a website with a name on it that's been around for 40 plus years. That makes people feel a lot more at ease about spending their money on something. Where if you look up CFG Industries, at least right now in December of 2023, there's not a ton of information out there on these things. So you're taking a gamble. And I'm not sure why. I don't know why they don't ship over Shantuis and have that name recognition, so to speak, to go along with it. So this cab's a lot easier to get into, and it has 2 pedals. One pedal will move the boom right there side to side, and the other pedal will move the thumb. So you can actually operate this, all the functions it comes with. Pretty basic machine, but I like it. In here, flip the switch, and you have a computer screen that tells you all your, and that sun is right in the way, I apologize. That tells you all your parameters. So date, time, it's wrong of course, hours, volts. This is your high speed, low speed travel, window washer. This turns off your alarms. This takes you into your other settings, windshield washer, lights, and then this turns on your heat, which just causes the fan to blow down there. And if I put this arm down here, you'll see that lock changed to unlocked. So that means that my hydraulics are live now, and if I move them, then the boom will move. Controls, right there's my blade control. Throttle control. It's a manual throttle. I don't know why, but I like that. It just feels simpler and easier in a machine like this. You get your radio right here. The radio, you can actually read the letters on it, so you know how to run it. The window pops up. You pull that handle there, that handle here, and up it goes. In. Let me zoom out so it's a little bit easier to see what I'm talking about. It just goes up and over your head. So you can have this thing open when you're working in nicer weather. Overall, fit and finish is just a lot nicer because this comes from a name brand manufacturer. They've been building, like I said, they've been building since the 80s, and you can just get in this and you can just feel that is well put together, and it just feels nicer than the other one. Cable management. I mean, little things like that. They put paint on everything to make sure the bolts haven't backed out. Just those little details are, that's what sells me on these. The back, I mean, everything's routed nicely, and it's thought out. It wasn't just slapped together. Robotic welds on all the undercarriage pieces. Guards over the hydraulic cylinder for the blade and for the hydraulic cylinder for the boom here. Keep dirt and debris from flying up there. And it just feels nicer. That's the only way I can describe it. A little bit lighter weight, but for features, for having a hydraulic thumb and a quick coupler, I think that's sells it for me. This guy right here, this NT45. So there's a motor. It's a Kubota motor. So right there, Kubota. And then the pump on it is a Crystal. I'm not familiar with them, but I'm not overly versed in different manufacturers of hydraulic pumps. Radiator system sits right here. Not a whole lot of room for airflow there. And then your hydraulic tank sight glass, and then an exposed fuel tank. And you got the smiley face on the fuel guy right there. This is a bare bones machine. This is as bare bones as it gets. You do have this counterweight here, so this is, I think this is like cast steel right here. So you do get a counterweight on the back. So it does have a conventional tail swing, which will probably help with digging. But the cab on this is basic. If you're looking for a machine just to dig and you don't care about any creature comforts or anything, this is your machine. This thing, you hop in it. You have the same control box as the red one right behind me does. Very simple. It tells you your fuel and your dummy lights. This one, you can move that switch right there, and that moves your boom or rotates the house using your, I believe, this lever right here. And then you do have switches right here, which is, or not switches, you have a diagram right there which tells you what the booms do, which I find is nice. Throttle control, blade control, hammer to get out to break the window, and a fire extinguisher, and you get a fan. That is all you're getting for creature comforts in this thing. There is nothing else for comfort wise. The seat, it's bare bones, just like what you find on those 1-ton mini excavators. Got the battery switch down here. Well, I turned our fan on. There's the off switch. Pardon my hand getting in the way. So you turn your key, your dash lights up, 1.2 hours, and then your fuel or your oil and your battery lights are on because you're not making enough juice for them. Not going to be comfortable to sit in all day. This thing will beat you up, and it just does not have the little creature comforts that make running one of these all day worth it, in my opinion. And no seat belt, but this is about as close to gray mark as you can get while still being a new machine. Boom design here. You could say that this is robotic welded, probably. I think it is. I think when you get into the size machine, it's cheaper to have a robot weld them. You do get a boom guard right there, but you don't get one on the blade. You don't get a quick change on your bucket. And you do get the pinnable buckets, or the pinnable thumb. And I'm not a fan of these because if I'm out in the field and I need to switch from digging to using my thumb, I want to be able to pull a cotter pin, pull this pin, and move the bar down into the next position there. I don't want to have to get a wrench and a socket and take that off. It's not going to save me time, so I would replace this with a longer pin with a cotter pin in it. As you can see, this has the thumb retracted all the way up. This is how a thumb should be, close to the boom, so it's out of the way. As you can see, that yellow boom right there, that thumb hangs way down. I do not care for that. That is just a poor design. geometry wise, so I will ding this STE35 on that. But yeah, this is just a nice little walk around comparison of, you know, these three machines that you're going to start seeing popping up at a lot of these auctions and for sale on websites, resellers. You'll see them at dealerships. Or, well, there's a dealership in Chicago, their main warehouse, but you will see other companies will buy and sell these things. And this just kind of gives you a side-by-side comparison of what you're getting. And size-wise, the tracks appear to be a little bit longer than on the red one and the yellow one. I'm sure you could go online and find the specs for each of them and see just size-wise which one is bigger. So anyway, that's a quick comparison between all of these. Hopefully you guys get something out of these videos. And yeah, I'm not an expert in any of these. I'm not affiliated with any of the companies. I just like going to auctions and I like heavy equipment. And this happens to be some machines that are in a price point that I can afford, so I've taken an interest in them. So I'm just trying to put out there what I think I know about them, and hopefully it helps some other people out on these. So like I said, this is you'll probably start seeing more of these out there, and this will hopefully answer some questions for you on what the difference is in them. So again, thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.